Hello, my fellow friends. I am Marianne, and today I'm gonna talk to you about life. Not only life, but life to crisis, because this is what we are living today. And I'm gonna talk to you more precisely about how the utilitarian theory can affect your way of seeing this crisis right now. Um, you can trust me, because I'm a student in social science and I had many classes in philosophy and I love philosophy. So even in my own time, I've learned a lot about it. And look at me. I'm trustworthy. You need philosophy in your life. Because in life, we face something that's called dilemmas. A dilemma is when you have to choose between two options and both options have goods and have cons. And because both sides are not the best but not the worst, you're having a hard time to choose between both sides. And that's what happens when you have a dilemma. Philosophy helps you face dilemmas. Philosophy gives you the theory and philosophy that you need to make the breakthrough through both options, to choose between one or the other. And one of those philosophy is the utilitarian theory. This theory in philosophy is a theory which would tell you to always take the side that's gonna bring more good out of it. So it's always seeking for the greater good. And right now, in this situation, the government had to choose because they faced a dilemma as well. They had to choose if they would close school, close shop, and kind of stop most of the economy, or let elderlies die and babies die and let a lot of people get sick, and counting the sick, that would probably die from COVID-19. So this population, the ones that could die and that were at risk from the COVID-19, were actually 10% or 10%-ish of the population. And they would have suffered and maybe die out of it. But I think that if we really count the pros and the cons of both sides, I think that right now a lot of people are living a lot of anxiety right now because of the economic crisis and the social distancing, and a lot of people are also living depression. And I know that it's sad that people would have died out of it, but maybe the greater good would have been to think more of all the population than just the good of few people, because not letting them die is something important, but I don't know if it's as big as all the bad that it's doing to the rest of the society right now. So if we count the pros, on one side we see that because the government closed everything and called social distancing, some people are staying alive thanks to that. The elderlies, babies that were also at risk, and the sick ones, all those people that were more at risk from dying from COVID-19, those people are mostly staying alive, because even though we call them social distancing and that we closed shops and school, some people are still dying right now. but it's probably less than the numbers that would have went if we didn't close everything. But because we closed everything, there's a lot of people that are facing anxiety, depression, loneliness, and that's really weighing heavily on a lot of people. And if we count the pros and the cons of both sides, I think that because there's still some people dying even though we did that, I think we can say that we are getting more bad out of it than more good. Because on the other side, some people would have still died like it is going on right now, and probably more people would have died, but it wouldn't have been really much more, because this population that was really at risk from COVID-19 was only maybe 5-ish, 10-ish% of this population. And I know it's a huge number, but when you're thinking about the utilitarian theory, you're thinking really about the greater good. And sometimes the greater good is counting to let some people die in order to make good for many more people, but a lot of more good. So now we know that if we see this situation in the eyes of a utilitarian, we would not want all the thing which the government did right now, which is social distancing and closing everything and blah blah blah, you know. And some other philosophy would also go with that. Some people think that this is useful in some way, and those people are the ones that believe in social Darwinism. This theory of social Darwinism is a theory based on natural selection, but on a social scale, you know. So for the ones who don't know, natural selection is linked to the evolution theory, and it explains it, you know. So in the evolution, we think that the species that were weak and not greatly made, they died, but the ones that were strong and good, you know, those are the ones that stayed alive and multiplied themselves and evolved in order to make the world that we have today, where we have great human beings and great animals that live for a long time, you know. So with this philosophy, people would think that we should go on with life, and if the weakest die, if the earlies die, if the babies die, well, it's just gonna make the world a better place. So we're just gonna be a stronger species, you know. And in the same way, some other people with another philosophy would be cons the government actions right now. And this philosophy is liberalism. And this philosophy is based on liberty and freedom and human rights. And for them, the people who believe in this philosophy, they think that freedom is a right, a human right that everyone has. And if the government takes you your right of liberty and freedom, well, they're doing injustice. And right now, the government is keeping us from going seeing our friends and shopping outside and opening our shops and going to school. So right now, those people who believe in this theory, they think that the government is not doing something just, but unjust. With the utilitarian theory, you would seek for the greater good. Some people think that the greater good is when you have freedom, like I just explained, and those people would think that the situation is not good right now and they would want it to change it. Some other people think that we need a cleansing of the human race on the planet. And so those people would think that the government are not doing the right action right now. and just on the utilitarian way of seeing things without thinking of those other theories, it would also be cons the fact of closing everything. So it's just a different way of seeing the situation right now. I'm not saying it's the greatest. I'm just bringing that to you to make you able to think on your own and see good side and bad sides of things, because life is dilemmas.